Just 2 days after the Israeli and the American joint strikes inside of Iran, where Khamenei was in fact neutralized. The supreme leader is no more amongst us in Iran. There are more than 40 commanders of the IRGC who have been eliminated as well. The airstrikes continue even as I speak. While I was coming inside the foreign ministry of Israel, there were missiles that were thrown inside Jerusalem that were neutralized by the Israeli defense mechanism. But here on a World Exclusive, joining us live for the first time after the conflict broke out in the last 2 days is Gideon Sa'ar, the foreign minister of Israel. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening.
It's a very critical time, but the first question that comes to the mind of each and every person here who's been observing is that what was the need to get into a conflict or a war at a time when negotiations were underway? We saw talks in Geneva take place, and there was a commitment made that technical negotiations and agreements will in fact take place in Vienna, Austria. But what was the urgency to go in and eliminate Khamenei?
But those who conduct the negotiations, the Americans themselves, came into conclusion that Iran, as usual, is wasting time, not meeting the American red lines with regard to the nuclear program, Iranian nuclear program, not meeting the American red lines with regard to the ballistic missiles program. So altogether, we knew that within a very short time, Iran is going to put all its nuclear program in a very deep underground installation where not Israel and not America can hit effectively from the air. They plan to do the same thing with ballistic missiles production. So that would put them in, I would say, immunity place, and they can do whatever they want to do. You can see only from the last days how much this regime is dangerous. They are hitting not only us, our civilian population, but also Arab countries in the region without any provocation. So this is an extremely dangerous regime for their own people, as we saw in the way they butchered their own people during the last protest, to all countries in the region. And of course, for us, it's an existential threat. And therefore, since we thought time is of essence from the reasons I just mentioned, and also time is of essence taking into consideration the expectations of the Iranian people that fought bravely for the freedom, but reasonably cannot achieve it without any help from outside.
Minister,
so this is why we decided with our American friends that we must act. There are, of course, complications that might happen, but it's more dangerous not to act rather than to act in this situation.
Fair enough. I'll come to what is happening now and what's been happening over the last 3 days. But first, you had Oman acting as a mediator between US and Iran. There were talks that were happening. The Oman foreign minister was on record to say that perhaps in the next 90 days there was some kind of an outcome that could happen on a peace agreement. There were technical details that could be discussed. And now the foreign minister of Oman said that he's dismayed. He's thinking that there was a talks process underway. There was a step-by-step process that could have led to perhaps some kind of an agreement. But now Oman says that, whatever commitment was there has been violated. How do you respond to that?
I don't think I have to respond to that because we were not a side or a part to the negotiations. The Americans handled it. And it is true that, as always, President Trump preferred to reach an agreed solution to this thing, but as it happened on June, he found out eventually that they can waste time forever, but they will not reach to a good agreement. And the bad agreement is something that Americans didn't want to achieve. So this is why they concluded, like we did, it's time to act, and I think their judgment is good. But you should ask yourself a different question about Oman. Why Iran attacked also Oman? Mm-hmm. And this demonstrates how much you cannot trust this regime.